class, I'm Dr. Said. Now the session can begin. Time to master the art of open source intelligence. From social whispers to the shadows of the net, we'll find the digital footprints that the hackers left. We'll pivot through the data, a new world to explore. This is the power of OSINT and so much more. OSINT!
Welcome to EInvestigations. We're kicking off with one of the coolest parts, OSINT, or Open Source Intelligence. Think of it as being a digital detective, finding crucial clues, but only from public sources. This is where the real investigation begins, so get ready to dive in. This slide sets the stage. OSINT isn't the only thing we do, but it's a huge, fundamental part of any modern investigation. See the investigation flow? OSINT is one critical method woven into that overall process. It's the first shovel we use to start digging for public information. Time for the official definition. OSINT is simply gathering information from publicly available sources. Why do we care? Because it's essential for everyone. Cyber defenders use it for threat intelligence, journalists use it for fact-checking, and law enforcement uses it for investigations. It helps us assess risk and even analyze what the public is thinking. Let's focus on cybersecurity. One of OSINT's most critical jobs is helping us track and prioritize software vulnerabilities. Why? Because these are the weak spots attackers love. We combine public data, OSINT, with internal data and even information from the dark web to get a complete picture of the threat landscape. It's like putting together a giant digital puzzle to protect an organization. Where do we find this open source information? Everywhere. Think of your daily online life. Websites like news and forums, and of course, social media, Facebook, X, LinkedIn, are gold mines. Don't forget official public records and in-depth academic research. And for our security students, the CVE database is critical for known vulnerabilities. OSINT is powerful, so we must talk about the rules. The three big challenges are making sure your data is accurate, that it's current, and that you stay legal. Ethically, you must respect privacy and always maintain integrity in your analysis. Remember, just because it's public doesn't mean you can use it carelessly. Every good detective needs tools. We have specialized search engines like Shodan to find internet-connected devices. Maltego helps us visualize complex relationships. Google Dorks are clever search tricks to find hidden data on Google. TheHarvester is great for scooping up emails and subdomains. These are just a few examples that turn simple searching into sophisticated intelligence gathering. Here is one of the most important resources for any aspiring OSINT investigator, OSINTframework.com. This website organizes a massive collection of OSINT tools and resources. Think of it as your OSINT roadmap. Definitely check it out after class. We are now moving into a specific phase of investigation called email enumeration. This is the art of gathering and verifying email addresses related to a target. Why are emails so important? They are digital fingerprints that can lead us to accounts, compromised data, and more. When you have a name, your first step might be to see where that username is used across the internet. That's where namecheck.com comes in. It quickly tells you which social media platforms or sites a specific username has been registered on. It's a fast, easy way to start profiling a target. Building on the name check, if you have a name and an address, tools like that'sthem.com can try to link those pieces of information to an email address and other details. This shows how we combine different public data points to build a more complete profile. Sometimes, you only have a person's name but need to guess their email format. Is it john.doe@company.com or johnd@company.com? An email permutator, like the one from Metric Sparrow, generates common email address patterns based on a name. It's a great way to create possible email addresses to test during your investigation. Once you have a potential email, you need to check if it's actually valid without sending a test email which would tip off the target. Websites like verifyemail.org or emailable.com can help determine if the mailbox exists. This is a crucial step in filtering out bad data and focusing your efforts. This next tool, Have I Been Pwned, is incredibly important for both investigators and for your own personal security. It lets you check if an email address or password has been exposed in a public data breach. In an investigation, finding compromised credentials can be a major breakthrough. Now we shift from people to infrastructure with DNS enumeration. DNS stands for Domain Name System, and it's essentially the Internet's phone book. By enumerating DNS records, we are mapping out all the servers, subdomains, and host names connected to a target company's website or domain. DNS Dumpster is a fantastic free tool. It discovers all the related hosts and subdomains for a given domain. As the note explains, this is just the beginning. We take that list of hosts, find their IP addresses using tools like Nmap, and then start scanning for more information on the target's network. We often work backward in OSINT. If you find an IP address, you can use a search engine like Census to see what domains and services are hosted on it. This is helpful for reverse lookup and understanding the full digital footprint of an organization. Next up is image enumeration, our visual detective work. This technique is all about analyzing images found online to extract information. We can track where an image originated, where else it's been used, and even find hidden data inside the image file itself. The simplest tool for image enumeration is right in front of you. Google Images. Use the reverse image search feature to upload an image and find every other place it has been published online. This is invaluable for verifying if a photo is original or stolen, or tracking its spread. TinEye is another powerful reverse image search engine. Unlike Google, it focuses on image analysis and tracking, often finding different results and historical uses. Remember, the key here is to find out where an image appears online to confirm identity or location. Every photo has hidden data embedded in it called metadata, or EXIF data. This can include the camera model, the date and time the picture was taken, and sometimes even the GPS coordinates. Tools like EXIF Tool let us extract this metadata, which can be critical for establishing a timeline or a location in an investigation. Before diving deeper, we need to pause and ask some foundational questions. When you start an investigation, what's the first question you need answered? Hint, it's about clarity and direction. Let's move to the next slide to see the critical questions we must answer. Here are those crucial starting questions. What kind of information do I need? What is the objective of my information gathering? Am I clear about my target? And what is my gathering data plan? Answering these ensures you don't waste time and that your investigation stays focused and legal. This slide introduces two advanced concepts in OSINT: identifiers and pivoting. Identifiers are unique pieces of information we use to track a target, like an email or IP. Pivoting is the technique of taking one identifier you found and using it to find new, related identifiers. It's how we link together disconnected pieces of information. Let's zoom in on identifiers. These are the core elements you search for: names, emails, phone numbers, IP addresses, usernames. Think of them as anchors. The quality and variety of your initial identifiers will determine how successful and deep your investigation can go. Now for pivoting. Imagine you find a username on a forum. You then use that username to find a social media profile, and from that profile, you find an email address. That's pivoting, using one piece of information to pivot to a new, valuable piece of information. It's the engine of a successful OSINT investigation. We are back to focusing on individuals with person enumeration. This phase involves gathering all publicly available data about a person, not just emails, but their locations, their movements, and their digital footprint. The next few slides show some incredibly specific and fascinating tools for this. Believe it or not, even claims are open source. Tools like FlightAware allow you to track the location of planes in the sky using public data. This is useful if a target posts a picture of a flight or if you have the tail number of a private jet. ADSB Exchange is another powerful flight tracking site, often referred to as the unfiltered flight data source. When we're doing person enumeration, using multiple tracking sites gives us the best chance to trace a person's physical movements via air travel. This is a great example of creative OSINT. If a target posts a photo next to a private jet on social media, you can use sites like Jet Photos to identify the plane's type, registration number, and possibly even its owner or flight history. Every detail in a photo can be a clue. Here is pure detective science. You can use the shadows in a photograph and a tool like SunCalc to estimate the exact time and date the picture was taken, provided you know the location. Analyzing shadows helps verify timelines and potentially expose false claims. Never underestimate mapping tools. When you find an address or coordinates through DNS enumeration or image metadata, you use tools like Google Maps or Bing Maps to visually confirm the location. Using different mapping services like Baidu Maps can sometimes give you a clearer picture in different regions of the world. For corporate investigations or tracking technical targets, we look at code. GitHub is a massive repository where people share code, and we often find sensitive information or vulnerabilities there. Public www is a search engine that looks at website source code to find specific lines of code, like tracking pixels or analytics IDs. Just like the OSINT framework, the tools page from Intel Techniques is an essential bookmark. It aggregates many of the best OSINT tools and links into one single, easy-to-navigate page. It's the master toolbox for quick access to various information-gathering utilities. What if a website changes or an important page is deleted? That's where the Wayback Machine from archive.org comes in. This tool lets you look at historical snapshots of websites, allowing you to recover old content and track changes over time, a critical capability for digital forensics. When you download a suspicious file during an investigation, you must check it for malware. VirusTotal is a highly recommended service that analyzes files and URLs using multiple antivirus engines and scanning tools. It's an essential final check before interacting with any unknown data. This slide points to a specialized AI tool, an all-in-one basic OSINT analyst report. This highlights how modern investigations are using AI to rapidly process information gathered from public URLs and create quick summaries or analysis reports, integrating many steps we just learned about. Let's revisit Google Dorks. These are not tools in the traditional sense, but advanced search techniques, clever query arguments that turn Google into a powerful investigation tool. With the right Dorks, you can find files, hidden directories, or documents that were accidentally left public on a website. Mastering Google Dorks is like unlocking a secret level of web searching. We now introduce indicators of compromise, or IOCs. These are forensic artifacts, like specific IP addresses, file names, or malware signatures, that indicate a system has been breached or attacked. OSINT is essential here because we use public data to look for these IOCs, verifying suspicious data, and uncovering the identities and relationships involved in an attack. The CVE, or Common Vulnerabilities and Exposures Database, is a standardized dictionary for publicly known information security vulnerabilities. Think of it as the FBI's most wanted list for software flaws. It was created by the MITRE Corporation to help everyone, vendors, security professionals, and researchers, communicate clearly about specific weaknesses. What happens when a vulnerability is found? It goes through a cycle. First, it's discovered and the vendor is notified. Then a patch is developed and released. Importantly, the CVE number is assigned, creating a permanent reference. This cycle is designed to get software fixed and users protected. Here is the shocking truth about the CVE cycle. Once the patch is released, the danger actually spikes. Why? Because adversaries can reverse engineer the patch to figure out exactly what the vulnerability was. This gives them a clear target to rapidly create an exploit before everyone has a chance to install the patch. Speed in patching is everything. This data point from Palo Alto Network's Unit 42 is terrifying for defenders. It shows that in 80% of cases, the exploit, the code that attacks the vulnerability, is publicly released faster than the official CVE is published. This means the bad guys often have a head start, emphasizing why real-time OSINT and threat intelligence are critical. The exploit database is the largest public repository of known exploits. It's where researchers and penetration testers share information. However, remember, this is only the tip of the iceberg. Many valuable, powerful exploits are kept private and traded exclusively in underground black markets. These charts, based on data from the exploit database, visualize the trends in the exploitation world. Looking at them, we can analyze the platforms most targeted and see how attack methods evolve over time. This kind of data analysis helps security professionals focus their defense efforts where they are needed most. This FireEye Mandiant research further emphasizes the time-sensitive nature of vulnerability management. They analyze the small window between public disclosure, patch release, and the start of active exploitation. The takeaway is simple. The race to patch systems is incredibly fast, often measured in days or even hours. Finally, we connect OSINT to a specific area of digital forensics, investigating insider threats on Windows systems. This linked article provides a practical example of how to apply OSINT principles to internal investigations, showing how external clues can help track down malicious activity inside an organization. We wrap up our deep dive into EInvestigations and OSINT with a look at these final resources. This slide gives you access to the Unit 42 Playbook Viewer and links to explore how AI and machine learning are being integrated into security operations playbooks. Remember, the digital world never stops evolving, and neither should your skills. Use these resources to stay ahead of the curve and keep refining your investigative techniques. You've learned so much about finding information, verifying it, and connecting the dots. Now it's time to put it into practice. Thank you for your amazing focus and engagement throughout this session. I hope you found this introduction to being a digital detective both insightful and easy to understand. Bye for now, and see you next time as we dive deeper into the world of cybersecurity.